Alright, so welcome back. We're on page 4, not including the cover. So we've got our 5th page in the spread. This is where we left off. Where we set up maybe just a welcome page, an introductory section page. We kind of went over some stuff around outer glow and strokes, some different effects you can apply to images. As we were looking at this last page we were working on, we had some extra images. Let's go ahead and click and drag and select around them and delete them so that we don't have them there, because what we're going to do is, again, copy this page 5. So I'm over here in the Pages panel, and we're going to go ahead and drag that over to the New Page button, and we've created a copy of that page. And remember, in our last page we had a series of images stacked up, one below the other. So there's about 7 or 8 images in there that we had stacked up. I'm going to Command Z that and put that back in place. What we're going to do is we're going to create a couple buttons to allow us to scroll through the pictures. We're going to place the buttons down here below the flowers. And what we're going to need to do in order to make this happen is we're going to need to convert these images using the object state. So we're going to give them a state. So instead of selecting them here on the screen, on the layout, we're going to go over here to our layers panel. If you don't see that open, you should be able to find it over here along the far right, layers, and go ahead and open that up. And again, we can see everything that's stacked up on this page, including our rectangles, our text frames, the text, and all of our images. So what we're going to do is we're going to go along the right side here, and we're going to click, and we're going to shift select those. So hold shift down and work your way up, and we're going to select that series of images. Let me just scroll up a little bit. So we're going to select all of them, that whole series of images that's stacked up on top of each other. You can see they're selected now. And notice over here in our object states window, and again, if you don't have that up, you could find that under Window. And what we're going to do is, now notice it says click the new button to make each object a separate state. Option click to keep the same objects in the same state. We're going to go down here, and we're going to convert selection to multi-state object. Okay, so now we've got all of these flower images are now numbered in different states. I'm going to go ahead and name this flowers, and we're good. So if we select them, I clicked away there just for example, and I'm going to click back, they all appear as a group now. And so now we're going to add our buttons. And we will find buttons. Go ahead and close the layers, and let's find those buttons. Buttons are up in our interactive. Under Window, Interactive, go to Buttons and Forms. And up pops our little menu here. And not much readily available here at the moment, so let's check under this little flyway menu here, and we're going to use some sample buttons that already are in the system. So up pops the sample buttons and forms for creating document forms. So we're going to go with something, fairly intuitive as far as buttons go. There's a few here. And so I'm just going to pick these 133 and 134. I'm just going to click and drag it down below here. And there's the left button and 134 down here below there. And notice as I was dragging them out, they were lining up to each other. So I've got 2 buttons. I'm going to close that window there and move that around. There we go. They're lined up now. They're a little small, right? So maybe we'll increase the size Let's move them together a little bit closer too. So again, keeping them aligned, a little closer. Now I'm going to shift select, hold shift and select the other one, and then I'm going to stretch them out a little bit bigger, so easier to find and read. So looking for our alignment here, looks like that's in the middle there. Okay, so now when we click on this button, the left button, you can see in our buttons and forms, up pops button 2 here. So this is type of button, name, and what we want to do is on, release, or tap. We're going to add an action. And so we're going to go ahead and click that. And what we want to do is all we're going to do is create a simple back and forth. So we're going to click go to previous, since it's heading left. We'll say go to previous state. So that would be the previous picture. And that looks good. So now we're going to click on the other one. And we've got button 4, on release, on click. We're going to add the action, and this time we're going to go to the next state, or the next photo that we assigned the state to. And one way to test it is by going down here to the bottom. We could preview the spread, and what we'll get is a little miniature shockwave file preview. And we can zoom in on that, and let's go ahead and play or preview. And if we click on it in the little test window, we can see, sure enough, that button's working, and that button's working. Excellent. So zoom back out there, and close our little shockwave file window. So we've successfully added a couple buttons, turned our pictures into different states, object states, and connected the buttons to those states. And we're ready to roll on to the next page. Close that, close that, leave the page is open, and I'll see you in the next chapter.